Hello, everybody, from Berea at Browns training camp. This number's day number 11 of training camp. And about the best news of the day, and I mean football and everything else that is swirling around the Browns right now this summer, the temperature. It was a lot more doable today, a lot cooler than it was last week, and certainly over the weekend when that heat really hit the team and anybody else that was out here. Now let's deal with what went on this Tuesday. The Browns and everybody else continues to wait on the NFL decision by Peter C. Harvey, the ruling on the appeal that the NFL filed on the ruling that came down last week on the 6-game suspension of Deshaun Watson. And that really has the team kind of drained because when you really boil it down, only the players and Kevin Stefanski continue to answer questions or beat around the bush when questions come their way. And I understand that about the Watson situation. It's not their situation personally. Watson has not spoken, and I sort of get that. Nobody in the hierarchy of the team, ownership, front office, they have not spoken on it and will not speak on it until there's some finality to it. So while the NFL owners were meeting and ratifying the new sale of the Denver Broncos and the new ownership team there, we thought maybe we'd get the decision coming down from that meeting of the NFL owners out in the Twin Cities, but so far no word yet. And so the Browns are heading into their first preseason game on Friday night in Jacksonville against the Jaguars with a great unknown. Everybody wants to know who's going to play on Friday night and really who's going to play at quarterback on Friday night. Now, in their heart of hearts, the Browns would love to have Deshaun Watson get in and play some in that game. And if he's eligible, I feel that will be the case. He'll go in and he will play. How much, I don't know. But if he plays, you'll also probably see the number one offensive line of the Browns play too. That would be important to keep him upright and healthy. But if the ruling on the suspension comes down, and if it's an indefinite suspension and it comes down before that game, he will not be eligible to play. He will not be eligible to be with the Browns any longer for any time during training camp. He will basically be out of the league at that time and can only come back in on reinstatement. So that would be a disappointment. Now, why do they want to have him play? Well, because he hasn't played any football, actual football, since late December of the 2020 season. Remember, he didn't play a snap all of last year in Houston. They would like to get him in the game and get him some game action, and he would love that too. And obviously, they're going to have to start the process of getting Jacoby Brissett up and running to get him ready for the start of the season. And after that, who knows? Josh Dobbs, Josh Rosen. It depends on really how many times you get the football in the game. Now, there was a bad injury at training camp on this day, too, and that was to wide receiver and kick returner Jakeem Grant. In a passing drill, he went out for a pass thrown by Deshaun Watson. He was being covered by defensive back A.J. Green. He went down. He was in a great deal of pain. He was really frustrated, pounding the turf with his fist. Usually, the player tells you the extent of the injury before a trainer or a doctor does. They know, and it looked as though Grant had a substantial injury. What does that do to the Browns overall? Well, it wipes out their return game. That was the primary reason why they signed him, to bolster their return game, because it's really been lackluster the last couple of years. If he is out, then the Browns can seek another returner in the kicking game, or they'll just go with the guys who they went with last year. That would be Demetric Felton, Anthony Schwartz, Dearness Johnson, Donovan Peoples-Jones. And it completely changes, really, the effectiveness of the return game, because at that point, the Browns are just hoping to catch the punt, catch the kickoff, don't turn it over, and get the ball over to the offense. So that Grant situation really is a bad one for special teams. It hurts them tremendously. And it also affects them in the passing game, because he's a wide receiver, too, who is really crafty, very smart, very quick, can play the slot game very well, get open, has good hands, just a good football player. So overall, you would be losing a guy that they were really counting on in a couple of different areas. So really, that basically wraps it up. The team travels to Jacksonville tomorrow. They'll have a team day on Thursday, and then the game is on Friday night. It will be game 2 for the Jaguars, game 1 for the Browns. And that's the way it was on this Tuesday in Berea at Browns training camp for day 11. For WKYC.com, I'm Jim Donovan.